What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's good to see you all again. I wanted to touch on Exela real quick over the weekend before Monday bell rings so that we all are looking at something similar together to see what's going on, where it could go. If that sounds like something you're interested in, if you don't mind, hit the like button. I will get into the information. So as always, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is just for entertainment purposes only. Let's look at what we're looking at. So as I mentioned in the last video, we did drop out of that trend line. We were looking for support. We were looking for a bounce, and it did get a little bit of a bounce, which was nice to see. But after falling out of that, we kind of gotta just look and see what we're doing on a little bit bigger time frame. Where's the trend? What are we looking for? And so I bumped it out to the 1 hour time frame. Right now we're almost in a symmetrical triangle. I would say it's almost perfect as far as what we got going on. Now coming out of here, I do like that the buyers are stepping in a little bit sooner, right? They jump in a little bit sooner every time, which is nice to see. That's what we need to continue the trend to go up and continue to carry out in this here pattern. Now obviously we're going to be setting lower lows because it's just going to be testing the trend line in both directions. Now I want to see it continue to respect both of those until it picks its direction. A lot of times in this, the good thing is at least we are going to be falling right in between channels that we've been watching anyway. So we've been talking about the channel here between 13 and 14.85 and 14.85 and 17 cents. So we're kind of being able to combine or condense the channel that we're looking in, and we're seeing some extra supports that are involved in there, which is great. You know, you can almost see which way it's going to trend before it actually has to come all the way down and trend to the actual horizontal lines that we have, because now we have an ascending and a descending. So is it going to break out to the upside or is it going to break down to the downside? You're going to see it a little bit sooner. So this is what we're watching. We're watching the ascending line and the descending line, which one is going to break first. Sometimes in a symmetrical pattern, it likes to repeat whatever it was doing whenever it went into that symmetrical pattern. So if we were coming down and fell into this, I would say it was probably going to go to the downside, but being off a positive run going into this, then it gives me a little bit more confidence that we might be going to the upside. Now we can't guarantee anything, obviously. All we can do is kind of go off of statistics and what typically would happen or should happen, you know, theoretically based upon percentage of times that it happens and which way it goes. So no guarantees, but I'm a little bit of hopeful, positive that this is going to continue into the right direction. What I do want to see is it continue to test the full upper side, though. I don't want to see this give out, you know, a little bit too soon. It's taken a lot of capital to pump something like this. A lot of big money's in here. A lot of day traders, swing trader, momentum traders, they're pumping their money in here as well. They're watching these channels, no doubt. And, you know, they don't have endless sums of money, so they have to take some of that money off the table, step back in, play again, which is perfect. You got the nice run off of the news. It came down, the buyers stepped back in. You know, maybe they weren't 100% ready, but they were watching these trend lines, so they took their money off, they stepped back in, took their money off, and then they just wanted to see what happened after it fell out of there. So now they're watching this ascending triangle or symmetrical triangle, I guess we should call it, and to see what happens from there. It looks like they caught it, they pumped right back in, which is perfect. We want to continue to see that because that capital has to keep coming in here. Now what we don't want to see is volume exhaustion. It's taking a lot of money, which is a lot of volume, to really move something like this in the direction that it wants to go. So that money has to be able to accumulate over time, I guess you would say, right? They make their money, they take it, they make their money, they take it, they make their money, they got to take it. So every time they're having a little bit more to infuse into the play if they want to, or they're taking a little bit of that risk off. So they're willing to ride it just a little bit further because it's not as much of a risk as it was whenever they were playing somewhere down there where it wasn't really moving. They have an idea of what's going on. So we're watching the same things that they are. Now, what I don't want to see is this actually play out all the way to here, because that's going to be a boring week. And I think with the week that's ahead of us with FOMC, PCE, and some very large companies that are reporting their earnings, it's going to be a crazy week in the market. I think there's going to be volatility, and I think it's going to shake a lot of things up. and it's probably going to affect over here as well, right? You were able to get some good news while the market was running hot, which allowed this to possibly run further than it might have if the markets weren't doing so good. So we really want to keep an eye on the overall markets, on that news. How's everything going? I will be watching it, and I'll touch back in with you guys. We'll kind of look at what the market's doing and what it's affecting or not affecting Exela in the meantime. But just be watching these lines, right? At 13 cents, we don't want to see it drop out of there. That's going to be 2 more cents to the downside if it wants to. But the good news is you're watching this line now. We don't want to see this line give out on the ascending side. We don't, and we want to see this descending side. We want to see a breakout there. So will it get that breakout and above 17? I want to see that because it gives us a little bit more room to run. From the 17, I think we can hit the 20. From the 20, I think we got a pretty good chance of running up to the 25-26 range. Right now you're doing all of the lifting. There's no gamma. There's $1 is a very long ways away. So there's no help as far as the call options chain goes. It's not doing anything for you. This is just capital induced, and it's going to be bit by bit, piece by piece, clawing its way up there for now. So we will touch on some of the bigger items that are going to be coming into play, right? Compliance, and also along with that, reverse splits. We'll touch on that news article type stuff after this week. I really want to see how this week plays out. Can the volume continue? Is the market going to get slaughtered, or is the market going to run? And what's that going to do for the overall market? So this week I think we have bigger things to watch than worry about, compliance or reverse split or anything along those lines. Keep an eye on these numbers, guys. Just kind of watch it, see what it does. Like I said, this gives you even an earlier attempt at knowing which way you want to play it, and you have time. You might see it running, but see if it respects the upper. You might see it falling, but see if it respects the lower. I don't think that there's going to be any reasons that would have to be chased at this moment, because we are just going to probably consolidate. Now what I want to see is the RSI really start to turn around. It's been cooling off a little bit as far as everything's been looking. You got a little bit of a pump with it, with that massive candle, but where's it going to go? Because it's still technically set a lower high. You can see it right here coming down, and it's set lower lows. So we need to see that kind of reverse. I want to see what happens on Monday morning. Are the buyers going to step back in just a little bit sooner? We want to see these RSIs heat up. They're sitting comfortably in the 50-55 range. We need those to heat up a lot more on those longer time frames. On the shorter time frames, after hours, Friday, they're going to take profits. Somebody is. So it's hard to get a real read on what the RSI is doing. But overall, if they could step in about here, that would be great, because we've seen it down here, and we want them to continue to step in a little bit sooner. So come Monday morning, let's see if the buyers step in and try to do anything, or if they're just going to let this play out in its symmetrical channel for the time being. We will see what happens. I will touch back in with you guys as the week progresses with where we're going, what I'm seeing tested or respected, and from there we'll be able to make decisions based upon what the charts are telling us. So thank you guys for giving me a little bit of time out of your weekend coming back and watching another one. If you don't mind, hit the like button, or you can subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the updates. As always, stay golden, people, and may your accounts stay green.